Hey everybody, it's Julie again. Today I'm going to talk about writing female characters and the trope of the strong female character. In today's market, the term strong female character has been thrown around a lot, where basically their hearts are in the right place in the publishing industry and in the education industry and whatnot. They all want to have positive female role models for, kids reading young adult and wanting to see female characters modeled as good role models and good characters and strong characters. The problem with the way that this is being spun is that traditional feminine attributes to characters are being downplayed as making characters weak and making the female characters seem more like boys and men is what's being billed as making them strong. And this is a problem in how it's spun and how it's written and how it's portrayed and how it's understood. So I don't really like the term strong female character. I like to understand a character as being a good character, a strong character in general, but not in terms of whether they are a certain gender. What we have in the industry is a need for female characters who are good for boys, for girls, for people of any gender to see as somebody that they can model themselves on or respect, regardless of gender. And when we make female characters stronger by making them boyish, what we're sending to our readers is this message that femininity and traditional girlhood and whatnot is embarrassing, is weak, and is not strong. And so how do you combat that? How do you write a good female character who is not just basically a boy with long hair, if you know what I mean? So first of all, I think that the best way to do this is to show female characters being good characters, having good relationships with each other, having romance if they want to have romance, having traditional feminine interests or liking pink and whatnot if they want to, but not having any kind of value judgments attached to those, either by the character themselves or the other characters around them, judging that as lesser or weak. These need to be aspects of the character that can be incidentally included without diminishing them or making them lesser. So what we want to see is more female characters with agency. We want to see more female characters who make decisions about their lives, whose perspectives and desires are respected by both the narration and the other characters, and not having this portrayed as an exception. Too often we see rebellion against traditional expectations of girlhood and femininity shown to be an important female character. And while there is a place for this, especially in historical fiction where you see, the well-behaved women rarely make history kind of trope going on, we do need to see that. We need to see female rebels rebelling against things that really were oppressing them in those times and in today's times. We do need to see examples of that, but we also need to see characters who are just incidentally strong and who are not standing up every time they do something that fights the status quo and pointing out what they did. So what I mean by that is every time a female character stands up to a male character, she doesn't have to follow up after that standoff and say, you see, girls can be as good as boys. Do you know what I mean? And I think that too often we make it very specific. We make these messages to be very tailored to a girl power feeling, and it ends up feeling empty because it feels constructed just to send that message. But what tends to work more effectively is to just show incidentally respectable and strong characters who happen to be female, and they don't have to reject everything about being traditionally feminine to establish that. So especially in young adult, I'd like to see more girl characters, more women characters who hold respectable roles and aren't always commented upon as if they are an exception, and that they aren't the girl among boys who is better at everything in spite of being a girl. We need to put down this idea that women become strong by rejecting their femininity or rising above it or becoming an exception. We just need to start showing that femininity can be strong just by itself. So that is my perspective on writing good characters that are good models for girl characters and female characters, for every gender to understand the female people in their lives as potentially strong as well. So that's going to be, I'm not going to give any specific examples of where it was done wrong or where it's done right, and I'm not going to give specific examples of how to write this, but I'd like to just see more writers generalizing this concept and applying it to their female characters in their writing. So good luck with that, and feel free to carry on a discussion of it in the comments if you have anything to say on the subject, and I will see you next time.